His last name rhymes with ass, and he's gonna hand you yours in just a second. He is a megastar in the storytelling world. Everyone, give it up for Michael Kass.
About that introduction, when I was 12, people would take the K off of my last name and call me ass, and I would spaz out and get in fights, but I was really little, and they would just sort of hit me and I'd fall down and it'd be tears and blood and I'd get kicked out of school. That's not the story, that's just, thank you for being that. I'm super stalling because this is tough. Can I get your all help really quick? If you could just take your hands and just softly on your legs. It's 12:30 in the morning and it is raining in Chicago, Illinois, and I am down on my knees, water is splattering up into my face, and she's looking down at me with near panic in her eyes. No, Michael, don't do this, not like this. But I say, I'm just going to open the car door for you, and I do. I reach over and open her car door, and as she slips... Okay, fuck, stop. Stupid. Here's what you need to understand. This girl... Oh my God, it's all tangled up, is the love of my life. We met on the first day of grad school, and the first thing I noticed is that she looked like a combination of Princess Jasmine and Pocahontas. Right? Yes. So she was gorgeous, and for some reason, we started talking to each other, and we became friends really quickly. We started spending every waking moment together. She would come over and we'd watch movies, and she would lay her head in my lap and I'd stroke her hair. And girls, if you don't want a guy to fall for you, don't put your head in their lap and let them stroke your hair, especially if it smells nice. So that's exactly what happened. I fell for this girl, and she had just broken up with her fiance, and I confessed my attraction to her at 1 in the morning one night. I'd driven her home, and I just looked at her and went, Anjali, I am really sorry about this, but I am super attracted to you. Which is always a good start to a relationship. And she remarkably said, no, it's requited. And then, as my heart was soaring, proceeded to list 4,000 reasons that we could never be together. She was Indian, I was white. She was 25 and ready to get married. I was 22 and really couldn't put on my pants without having some sort of an existential identity crisis. And then there were a lot more. And at the end of it, she said, fuck it, lunged across the seat and kissed me, and it's that kiss in the wind. Yeah, right, it was like fireworks and the earth is just crazy, it's amazing. And I knew from that moment that I was in love with this girl, but we didn't use the word for 3 more months. We had gone to see, I don't know if you're familiar with the Stephen Sondheim show Assassins, which is about people who try or succeed in killing presidents, but we had gone to see that. It's a great show, it's very romantic. And I really loved the show, and I said, Anjali, I love this show. And she got this weird shiny look in her eyes and looked at me and said, How do you feel about it? I love the show. She leaned closer. How do you feel? Love. And I got the sense we weren't necessarily talking about the show anymore. She got this big smile, leaned over and kissed me, and later that night when we were in bed, she just rolled over and for the first time said, I love you. And then we made love, and it was like a Jenna Jameson movie, but gentle. What are you saying right now? That doesn't make sense. It was a great night. Great nights over the next couple of years became fewer and further between. The relationship, when it ended, there was no big blow up, there was no big dramatic anything that happened. It was just a gradual erosion over time of whatever we had between us. Those 4,000 reasons were super valid. And so the breakup was basically her saying, we need a break, and me nodding, because I was completely out of words by that point. And that was 6 months ago, and now it's raining, it's in Chicago, I'm down on my knees in front of her. No, Michael, please don't do this, not like this. I didn't say, what, I'm just gonna open the car door for you. I reach open the car door as she slips around me to get in. Here's the thing, I knew that I would do something like this. Here's what happened. Before we broke up, we had bought tickets to go see a play in Chicago. It was Peter Brook's Hamlet, which is, if you're a theater fan, it's like crack or heroin. You have to go see his stuff. And there was no way I was going to not see it, but I figured if I got to the theater really early, I could avoid seeing her. So I got up, I rounded the corner, got up to the box office, and of course she had the same idea, and there she was. Sunlight was glinting off of her jet black hair, and I wanted to do nothing more than turn tail and run the hell away. But then, masculine Michael Kass, who seldom comes out to play, raised his head and said, "What are you doing, you wuss?" Man up, were you not just in Hawaii? Yeah, no, I was in Hawaii. Did you not kayak with dolphins? I super kayaked with dolphins. Did you not jump off of a waterfall? Well, I more slipped. Did you jump? I jumped. I totally jumped. Then you should go talk to that girl. You've seen her naked many times. I totally have seen her naked many times. Why go talk to her? So I went, you know, my heart is pounding, like sweating. I crossed what seemed like an endless divide, but it was probably more like 5-10 feet. And just sort of kind of, you know, stood behind her, and I could see her posture change as she realized I was there. And I just sort of said, hey. But she turned around, and I saw this kind of fear in her eyes. And suddenly I was okay. I was better than okay. I was in control. I could do whatever I wanted because she was terrified. You look great, I said. She said, I look great. We looked great. Let's grab a drink, I said. She said, sure. We went and grabbed a drink. We ordered them. We sat there not saying anything to each other because we didn't need to. There was electricity between us. Anybody walking by could look at us and say, those people are going to be together forever. And just when I was about to share this thought with her, she looked down, looked up, and said, so I'm seeing someone. How dare she? For 6 months, I had pined for this woman, and now she was seeing someone. Was he Indian? I bet he was Indian. I couldn't ask. No, why would I ask? I'm not going to ask. Are they going to get married? I bet they were going to get married. I have lots of little pretty Indian children. I'm spinning out, but I can't let her see it, so I just look at her and say, wow, that's great. No, I mean, I'm not, but that's cool. Is he Indian? I don't want to talk about this, she said. I'm going to go outside and get a cigarette. A cigarette? When did she start smoking? The cigarettes are... My mom smokes. I didn't even want to date her. It'd be like dating my mom, and that is something that none of us really want to think about. Oh, I'll come with you. I said, what? Masculine Michael Kass is looking at me going like, dude, really? So I go outside, and before I can say anything, the lights are dimming, the show's about to start, so instead of saying anything, you know, substantial, I just sort of take her by the arm and I say, talk with me afterwards. There are things to say. It's like some sort of a bizarre Harlequin romance, except instead of having like oiled up abs on this little dude standing in the drizzle, I mean like, you should not, I'm going to come up with something smart to say after the play, so you should come hear it. And I spent the next 2 hours of the play, Hamlet's dying, it's all very tragic and sad, I'm trying to think, what the hell am I going to say, what am I going to say? Then, after the play, we're at the Golden Apple Diner in Chicago, and these words are just spilling from my mouth at unprecedented speed. It's this scattered complosion of verbiage. I'm like, look, I don't need you in my life, but I really want you in my life, I'm better with you in my life. And I was in Hawaii, and I was kayaking with dolphins, and I turned to you, but you weren't there because you were here, because you were dating the Indian guy, but whatever. And then I jumped off a cliff, and if I had died, I really would have wanted you there to bear witness, but I didn't die, and it was triumphant. I wanted you there to celebrate with me. I'm just better when you're there. And meanwhile, masculine Michael Kass is totally dissociated from the situation, is looking down at me and going like, dude, dolphins? Are you for real? I look at him like, dude, this is your fault. You told me to go talk to her. Meanwhile, back at the table, she is completely slipping away from me, and I see it happening, and I know that I have one last shot. So I look at her and I say, Anjali, if you can look at me right in the eye right now and tell me that you don't love me, then I'll go. This conversation never happened, and she looked at me, and her eyes were so full of emotion. And then she looked down, and when she looked up, 2 brown discs were pointing in my direction. I don't love you. She said, no, you do, you love me, you had to look down because then there was emotion, and there wasn't emotion. And she got up to leave, and I told her I'd walk her to her car, and now, here we are, 12:30 in the morning, rain falling down around us. I'm kneeling down, she's looking down at me, near panic in her eyes. No, Michael, please don't, not like this. What? I say, I'm just gonna open the car door for you. And I do, I reach over, open the car door, and as she slipped me around me to get in, it drops from my lips, an already defeated mumble. Will you marry me? And that was her reaction. A gasp and intake of breath, an open mouth. I don't know what you're doing back there, but it was that. It was this. And then, without responding, she got in the car and drove away, leaving me on my knees in the rain. And I just kind of sat there for a minute. I didn't really have anywhere to go. I sat there for another minute, sort of savoring the drama of the moment. And then masculine Michael Kass sort of floated over from the diner and looked at me and said, "You all right?" Yeah, no, I'm okay. All right, can we move on now? got in the car and drove home. Thank you.